what's up, guys? Welcome to My Life in Audio Engineering. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to make money as an audio engineer. This list was actually created in conjunction with some of the suggestions that I found on theproaudiofiles.com. Their particular article is Make Money as an Audio Engineer Without Working on Music. I'm going to be posting that at the bottom of the description where you can find that, that article. If you guys want to check it out. And I also made this list by just like overall experience that I've had in the past. First on that list, I'm going to be talking about live sound gigs. You can do live sound gigs. They're kind of prevalent in San Diego. There's many companies that do that sort of thing, like AVLM. That's just one of them. But there's tons of other ones. Rhino Stage. I think Rhino Stage is one of them as well. I think that's the name. But definitely check it out if you're in San Diego. I'm sure there's a equivalent somewhere else in your state or in your country that does stuff like a corporate AV or live sound gigs or anything like that. Also, you can check out live sound gigs for a band. Like, just ask around the town and be like, hey, does this venue have a live sound engineer? Would they be interested in having that? Check that out. You might be surprised that they might offer you a gig. Second on that list is audio post-production. Audio post-production like ADR recording, sound design, dialogue editing, Foley art, or even just making your own sound effects. Or making sound effects for your client. That could be another viable thing that you can do. Third on that list, you can make your own podcast. I mean, like, you do what I do, like do a podcast, incorporate some affiliate links into, your descriptions, like I do. I even put in, like for mine, I put in like what gear I like to use and whatnot. If people are interested in getting that piece of gear, they'll buy it from you. You get a cut of that. It's great. I think it's a good thing. They're supporting you. Like it obviously, you take the time to do the podcast, and you should be compensated somehow for it. I mean, I'm not saying I do it mainly for money or anything like that, but a little bit of compensation goes a long way, and that helps me out with my production and buying the gear that I need to buy, or even paying the people that help me out with my stuff. You can also find a client who needs their podcast either tracked or, edited or anything like that. Just ask around. You never know. There might be somebody out there who needs an audio engineer for their podcast, because not everybody wants to do that on their own, So you can ask around. Maybe you might find somebody, or maybe you might know somebody who knows somebody that might want that service from you. And going back to what I was saying as far as monetizing, even the podcast host, like let's say I use Libsyn. If you get enough audience or get enough following on there, you'll be eligible for monetization. So you should check out, if you're on Libsyn or any of those podcast hosting sites should be able to give you that option once you reach a certain threshold in your audience for monetization. Yeah, another thing you can do is, and it kind of falls in line with, podcast editing and whatnot, but you could also lend out your voice to VO. You can do that, or record a client that might need their VO recorded. Like I said, not everyone wants to do it themselves, and with your expertise, I'm sure they'd be down to, pay you for your services. So that's another route you can go. Number 4 on that list, you can rent out your equipment, or even, buy stuff at a thrift store or a garage sale, or, some kind of secondhand shop. Sometimes, I get lucky and I find gear, like music gear, like perfectly good music gear that was donated by, let's say, a musician that just kind of stopped playing, or they upgraded their gear. A lot of times I find that stuff at thrift stores and garage sales. So snatch that thing up. If you can get it real cheap, snatch it up, put it up online, and make that sale. Hopefully, hopefully you make that sale, but definitely do your research before you buy the thing. Check on eBay for all the sold listings and see what that piece of gear or item sold for. And if you can get it for way cheaper, shoot, by all means, like put it up online, take some photos, write your descriptions, measure the item so that you're not getting shot in the foot with shipping. I made that mistake before, but definitely it's a good way to make extra money. Overall, like not just being a creative, but just anyone in general, it's a pretty good way to make extra money. Okay, number 5, producing, consulting, and offering your mix services. There's a lot of various sites like Fiverr. I forget what the new name for Elance is, but I've seen a lot of audio engineers post up their services on there, or even other creatives. They'll post their services on Fiverr or Elance, and yeah, definitely check those sites out. In my experience, I didn't really get a lot of money from doing stuff like that, because there's always that next person who's going to offer their services for way cheaper than you can ever do it for. And it's definitely very competitive for sure. But go out of your way to check that out. Sign up for the site. Maybe you'll get lucky, but definitely it's worth investing the time to check out. Okay, and the last one on my list is create your own YouTube channel centered around the content that you want to do. It could be like, let's say, an audio engineering podcast, or a video series, tutorial series for, let's say, anything related to audio engineering, or let's say, or even like video making and photography, or graphic design. Just make a tutorial video, and yeah, like it takes a long time. It takes a long time to gain a following, but it's definitely worth checking out, or even trying out at least. I definitely, like in my experience, like making tutorial videos and doing that sort of thing, it's good practice. It's good practice for sure. And it helps you internalize like what you already know, because you're like talking to the camera and you're repeating it back to yourself. And it also helps you kind of, develop self-confidence. At least for me, it helped me like develop self-confidence on speaking in front of a camera, or even, speaking to a large group. I highly suggest anyone who's in the creative field to dive into possibly making like tutorial videos on their craft. Why not? I don't know, it's just overall a good thing to do. And some honorable mentions that I want to talk about that I saw on that site, the proaudiofiles.com. For anyone who's an audio engineer but happens to have a little bit more education, let's say like a person who has also, or audio engineer that also has a computer science degree, you can make plugins, you can make DAW software, you can make apps for that, app store that helps out audio engineers. You can, there's tons of ways to make money out there as audio engineer. Personally, I don't have the education for that. I wouldn't be able to make plugins. I don't know how to code. I wish I did, that'd be great. But, for anyone who has that education, definitely try to utilize that if you can. And the last honorable mention I want to talk about is acoustical design. There's various other jobs you can do as a acoustician, like designing a recording studio, designing a concert hall, industrial product, sound design, environmental acoustics, musical therapy, speech and language pathology, and seismology. Definitely check all that stuff out if you have the knowledge of being an acoustician. And I'm sure like a lot of people who are acousticians will already know about this stuff, but I just want to mention it because some people might feel stuck. They might feel like, okay, I don't know what to do with my skills, like and they might need that extra push as far as suggestions in order to make that next step. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to, let you guys know what knowledge that I have pertaining to that subject. And overall, man, I just want to help out audio engineers and creators in general, and anyone who kind of like falls in that category. Oh, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're not following my podcast, be sure to go ahead and follow my podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and all other streaming platforms where you can find podcasts. All right, guys, till next time, later, and have a good day.